Okay, so now that we have the walls drawn in and our little spiders are locked up safe and tight inside, let's add the door. So here's some rules about doors when it comes to floor plans. So the first rule is unless the door is centered in the room, the door should always be placed about 4 to 6 inches from a room corner. Alright, so like the door should be 4 to 6 inches from any of these corners of the rooms. The second rule is that the swing should always be away from the closest wall. So there's a few exceptions for that, but just so that you know, this is the door right here. So the double lined area represents the actual door. This arch that you see here actually represents the swing of the door. So how the door opens and closes. Where is it located? How do we know where it opens and closes? Because you don't want to stick a piece of furniture in the way of the door opening or closing, right? So that's what that little arch is actually kind of signifying. So that swing, which is what the arch is actually called, the swing, should always be away from the closest wall. So when you place this door over here in this corner, this swing should be away from the wall that it's closest to. It should open up into the room itself. Now there's a few exceptions for that. There's certain circumstances like exam rooms and healthcare where you actually flip the swing to help aid privacy. But for the most part, we're looking for the door to actually be closest to the wall and the swing to be kind of going into the room. The next thing that you need to know is that the door attaches to the same side of the wall that it swings, never the opposite side. So if I wanted to place this door so that it swung into the room, I would place it along this line. If I wanted this swing to be on the outside, so if I wanted it to actually kind of look like this, then I would place this door onto this line. And if you think about it, that's the way door hinges work. If you look at the hinges in your room, at home or at school or at work, you will see that the hinges are always on one side of the wall or the other. They are never in the middle actually. So make sure that you're placing the door correctly that way. So we need to pretend, in order to put this door onto this room, that we are going to actually install the door ourselves. So we have a big wall. I'm going to put it along this wall. What's the best way to put a door in a wall that's already built? Well, you got to cut a hole, right? First we have to mark where the hole is going to go. So we can do that by drawing a line 4 to 6 inches away from this corner. I have always drawn my doors 4 inches away from the corner, unless it's centered in the room. So what I'm going to do is I started the line command. I'm going to hover over that corner. I haven't hit click yet. And I'm going to use that alligator or that object tracking to go just ever so slightly. Do you see where it says extension? And you see that little green dash line? That's exactly what we're looking for. 4 inches. I'm just going to type 4 and enter. And it started the line 4 inches away from that particular corner. So let's do that again one more time. Line command. Hover my mouse over that corner, move it in the direction that I want it to go, and I can go all the way if I wanted to. And I can just type 4 inches, enter, and it placed that line. The key is to make sure that you don't click a second time. Just hover and then it'll start the line 4 inches away. So I'm going to draw a line straight down like I'm cutting through that wall right there, right? Hit escape. So I've got this cute little line. The next line I want to do is going to help me determine how wide the doorway is going to be. So I'm going to do a 3-foot door. I'm going to use my third wheel and I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that you can actually kind of see what's happening here. I'm going to use a blue selection box to highlight that particular object, and I'm going to choose the offset command. Again, it says specify your distance, so this time I'm going to offset that little line to the left 3 feet. So 3 apostrophe enter. and I'm going to click to say yes CAD. That's the side of this line that I want to place that new line, and there I have actually shown exactly where that door is going to go. So just to demonstrate that one more time, I'm going to hit Control Z, escape. Now you don't have to highlight the object first and then do the command. You could do the command and then it'll tell you to highlight the object. But I'm just in a good habit of highlighting the object that I want to modify and then choosing the modify command. That's an easy, efficient way to work with AutoCAD. So highlight the object, hit the offset command, specify your distance. So it's at 3 feet already because that's what I did last time. You could always retype it if you feel the need to. So 3 feet or 36 to signify 36 inches. Hit enter. And it's like, what side of the line do you want to place it? Well, I want to place it on the left hand side. And so there I've marked exactly where the hole for my door is going to go. The next step that we want to do is to actually cut it. So I'm going to hit escape to end the offset command. And we're going to use the trim command. So trim is located right above fillet. And if you click on it, it says choose your cutting edges. So I'm going to, what's nice about the new one is it used to be that you had to select your cutting edges first, and now it's saying no, you don't have to. You just hover your mouse and you see how it kind of like shows how it works, and it has that little red X. Go ahead and click and it'll cut it. Click and it'll cut it. Hit escape. Beautiful. Look at that. We have a door opening. Let's do that again. That was exciting. I'm kind of excited about this new version of CAD. Trim. It says select your object to trim. All right. Look at that. Well, they just made trim 10 times easier for you guys. That's awesome. So we basically are using trim to cut out that hole, and it wouldn't have worked if we didn't have these two lines there to help guide us along the way. So the basic idea is that trim will cut holes in things where there's an intersection located. So to go back, because this line intersects with these two wall lines, that automatically creates an intersection that I can trim from. Boom and boom. Hit enter or escape to end the command. Awesome. So I'm going to zoom back out with my third wheel, and you'll see that we actually have an area for that door to go. So now our job, now that we have a 3-foot opening, is to put in a door that is also 3 feet. So just click on your little door here and make sure that it is set to 3 feet wide. We're going to use the move command to actually move this door right into place. So move command is located also in the modify panel, very top left hand corner of that panel on home tab. Move. So I selected the object first, and now it's saying specify a base point. So a base point is the point at which the object is going to connect to your cursor. So it can connect directly to your cursor, or it can connect away from your cursor, but it's kind of like it's going to pick it up wherever you decide and move that object. So I actually want to move this door. Let's have actually the swing be on the outside to start. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see. So specify base point. I'm going to make the center of my cursor hit the very corner of this door. Click. And see how it kind of picks up that door? Now I can come over here and be like, okay, so the door has to be on the same side of the wall that it swings on. So that would be this part. So I can connect it right here, and notice how it connects perfectly over here on this side. So always remember, whatever the opening is, that's the same as your door size. If you have too small of a door and too big of an opening, you're going to have a gap. And we don't like gaps, right? And this time it would be cats escaping instead of spiders living on the wall, right? And we don't want cats to escape. So you have to have the same size door to the same size opening. Oops. And Whatever side the swing is located is the same side of the wall that you should go to. Now some people, I'm going to do move again. So I click the object, I hit move, and then it says specify your base point. Some people think doors connect here, which, you know, it really kind of is the preference of whomever you're working with, but it should never move base point click. It should never look like this. If you look at your doors, the hinges are never on the opposite side of the wall that the door swings. That's just not how it's installed. So I'm going to click, and actually there's a little grip here, so that's what's kind of nice about doors, is that it has a grip that actually helps you move without actually using the move command. But this is how it should look. This part of the door should be flush with this part of the wall. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, that looks brilliant. Alright, so we have now just installed a door. Now what happens if you don't have this nice little smart door already pre-chosen? I'm going to teach you how to draw your own door. So the first thing you need to do is switch your layers, and you know, in the process of video editing, I had already worked on this and then realized I needed to go back and show a couple things. So my door is already selected in the layer property, but you should still have a wall right here, right? So click on here and find, you know, your A wall, go all the way up. I always like to use that third wheel and find a door. A door. So now it's highlighted up here, and now everything that you start drawing is going to be that color on the screen. Alright, so the first step to drawing a good door is to draw a 3-foot box. Like whatever size you want your door to be, draw that box. So we want 3 feet. So I'm going to start, and you can draw it anywhere, it really doesn't matter. 3 feet. A 3 feet box. Beautiful. Oh my god. Oh, that was 3 inches. I forgot to put the apostrophe after. See what happens? 3 apostrophe enter. There we go. 3 apostrophe enter. And here's the box. Alright, that looks gorgeous. That's exactly what we're looking for. Remember to always hit the escape key to end that command. Alright, so the first thing I always tend to draw is the swing. So that's this arch or arc right here. So the arc is located in the drawing panel on the home tab, kind of on the opposite side of the line. And I'm just going to click on it. I like the default arc. I think it works the best for anything that you're doing. It is a little tricky, so if you hold your mouse over that command, it's going to show you how to start it. So the first click starts the arc. The second click kind of helps you determine how high the peak of the arc is going to be, and the third click ends the arc. So again, it's a little tricky, so you might want to watch this first. I'll demonstrate it twice. I'm going to click to start. Now it's asking me for the second point of the arc. And I have found that there are some objects, and arc is one of them, where it's best to draw it and then adjust it. Draw it and then adjust it. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually take the peak of the arc and kind of put it way out here. Whoa! And then the third click is to end the arc. So I definitely want to go on opposite sides of the box. And now it kind of looks like I have Pac-Man eating a box, right? Now the goal of a door is to have this arch. If you highlight it, there's this little grip, which you can actually use it to move. The arch should be touching the lines. So it shouldn't be sharp like this. Do you see how this is a really sharp angle right here? And it's kind of sharp here. And it shouldn't be like this where it's kind of bubbling over. You have to get it to manipulate pretty accurately. So I'm doing it just so that it's just inside. And you can always go a little bit closer. And oh, I got it pretty spot on the first time. Man, I must have been doing this for a long time. But that's what you're looking for. You don't want to see it overlapping. There's a little bit of an overlap. Something that small is not that big a deal. But you want it to have a nice, robust curve on it. We like curvy doors here in this series, okay? Beautiful. Hit escape to end selecting that arch, and there we have a door arch. Now what we need to draw is this part. And there's two trains of thought. Some people like to show the thickness of the arch. Some people don't like to show it and just show one line. If you want to show the thickness of a door, the easiest way to show that thickness is to use a rectangle shape. So the rectangle command is located right next to the arc on the very top. So if you click on it, and actually I'm going to hover just to kind of show you what it's going to have you do. The first click starts the rectangle, the second click ends the rectangle. It's very similar to the selection boxes, those green and blue selection boxes that we had earlier in this video. Now you can start, I'm just going to kind of demonstrate the rectangle over here on the side. You start the rectangle and see how it kind of attaches to your cursor. You can randomly place it anywhere you want and get any shape of rectangle that you want. Hit spacebar to continue drawing rectangles. And see, I can get kind of a thick one there. But if you want to draw one with specific dimensions, you've got to do a couple extra steps. So to draw a rectangle with certain measurements, I'm going to start the rectangle. I'm going to start kind of down here. And before I click to finish, if you look down in your command bar, you see where it says area, dimensions, and rotation. Well, the first letter of each of those is highlighted in blue. So if you type that letter, you will get that option to kind of pop up, and you can be more specific with how you're drawing. So what we want is dimensions. We want to tell AutoCAD what exactly the dimensions of this rectangle should be. So before I end this rectangle, I'm just going to kind of like position it in a basic way, and then just type D, enter. And now you see your cursor says specify the length for your rectangle. Alright, I want, well, the door is 3 feet, so let's just try that, 3 feet, enter. And then it says what's your width? Alright, well I want a width, a typical door is about 2 inches wide, so 2. I could put a quotation if I wanted to, I don't have to. Enter. So the first one actually does what I would consider to be the width, but that's alright. I'll show you a way to get this. And then, so you can see it's 3 feet by 2 inches. But what it's also doing is like, okay, what direction do you want me to place this? So you can choose, it's totally up to you. I don't think it's a bad thing to choose any of these. I'm just going to go with what it has and click, and you'll see that it kind of placed that door. So once again, just to demonstrate that one more time, rectangle. Specify your first corner. Click. And before I end the rectangle, I type D for dimensions. This time I'm going to go the opposite. So I did 3 feet and it did it horizontally. So let's do 2 inches. So 2, enter. And now 3 apostrophe, enter. And there you can see where it actually puts it in the direction that I want it to go. So you just have to decide what quadrant, I guess that's what that is, which side do you want this rectangle to be drawn at. And as soon as you click, it will place it exactly where it shows. Cool, so now we have a thickness to our door. It's 3 feet by 2 inches. And now we just have to place it right here where this part of the curve is looking. I'm going to grab it, move command, and this is where you kind of have to start practicing a little bit. You have to think, okay, where is this door going in comparison to here? I actually want this corner to be placed here, so I always grab it from that corner to place it in the corner that I'm looking for. So now you can see that we have a door. And all we have to do is take these extra lines and delete them. Now, what's weird about this rectangle is that there is actually a line underneath the rectangle that also needs to be deleted. So to do that, I'm going to use the blue selection box, and that's what the blue selection box is actually great for. because we never want to draw lines on top of other lines. It should always be clear and clean underneath. And you don't know that until you've been doing CAD for a long time, so just trust me on this, okay? There's a line there. So I'm going to take my cursor, place it up above, click, get that blue selection line going, and see how it finds that extra line. Now it's not picking up the rectangle because the rectangle is not completely inside of this square. So click, and it highlighted that line, and I'm going to hit delete, and the rectangle is still there. And there's a door, a real basic general door for you to use. The curve is not too sharp, so your doors should never look like this, nor should your doors look like this, okay? It should always look very well balanced, curvy, but not too curvy. And just to kind of show you a little bit of a property on the rectangle, if you click on the rectangle, you should see that it has grips. So yes, you can maneuver these grips to give you different shapes of the rectangle. Undoing to get back to the regular rectangle, but you should also be able to see the flat grips, which are located dead center of the rectangle. If you click on those grips, it'll help you extend or elongate or even turn it into a good rhombus. Look at that rhombus. Oh yes, that's very nice. So you can actually manipulate it to do a lot of different things. Control Z to get back to where you were. And that's just the basic understanding of a rectangle. You can tell it what dimensions you want. You can also adjust it after it's been drawn. You can manipulate it in ways to actually make it not a rectangle. Lots of things that you can do with it. But I just kind of wanted to show you how to make a basic door in case you didn't have one. And then also kind of some of the properties of not only arc, but also the rectangle.